what's up, everybody? Welcome to Cornhole Geartalk, presented by West Georgia Cornhole and Titan Bags. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm here with my co-host, Kendall.
What's going on, everyone?
And Josh.
Howdy.
All right, so we had a very exciting announcement to make today, which is the day we are recording this. However, you're going to be watching this after the day we recorded this. But what did we announce today?
About an hour and 5 minutes ago.
Very specific.
Yeah. As we're recording this, I'll let you know when it gets to 6.
Okay, thanks.
But yeah, we finally announced fashionably late, as Titan always does, our full pro lineup this year. I feel like we mixed some things up this year, and I feel like there were some unexpected people. There were some surprisingly expected people. I saw people guessing from the very beginning. But yeah, pretty huge day. Yeah. I feel like this past 2 weeks has been pretty big for us. Yeah.
It has. And golly, if y'all haven't seen the video yet, go check it out. I mean, it's just, it's so good.
So we've always had a fun time making the release videos. So like the first time we ever got the idea to do a release video, we had not a ton of people coming on, but Stephen Bernasette and Tom Gustafson came on board, and that's when we were like, you know what? Let's drop them in a McLaren 720S and a Ferrari 488 or whatever it was, and let's have them like pulling up, being bosses, throwing on the most expensive set of boards we've ever made. Like that would be really cool.
Because one thing I guess I didn't check, did you already do, because obviously now I guess I do a lot of the video stuff, but prior to me, you were doing exclusively like all of it. Were you doing like the bag trailers and kind of like artsy trailers for bags prior to that pro announcement, or was that kind of the beginnings of Titan being a little bit more unique, coming out with longer format video stuff?
We did several like fun artistic videos before that point. We did several bag trailer things, teased stuff up a good bit. We spent a lot of time making the X Factor release video.
I remember
all those product videos. But then the next year after that one, that's when you did it, right?
Yeah, well, that's whenever you and I first started like kind of working together on that stuff. Yeah.
We had so many people on that.
Oh yeah.
On that lineup.
Big roster.
That was a big project.
Yeah.
Lots of filming and lots of filming in the dark. It was a very kind of low lit, grungy kind of feeling. And this time around, it was just perfect.
It was just, the whole process was enjoyable. I feel like the experience of filming and editing and hanging out with the people making the video is the same feeling that the video does for me, if that makes sense. You know?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, pause. If you haven't seen the release video for this year, go check out. You can either find it on our Facebook or YouTube, like any of those places. Go check out the 2024 Pro partnership announcement and lineup video that we did. Because tell them what style we did it in.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of a mesh of everything. There's definitely one that is the key influence. But if you are a fan of just 90s sitcoms in general that we all kind of grew up watching, whether it's Family Matters, Full House, King of Queens, all that kind of stuff, that's kind of what inspired the whole concept. And a lot of the reasons that I wanted to do it was, obviously, we did the video the previous year that was very edgy, sports, athletic kind of direction, which I think was good. But there was a part of me before I started kind of coming up with an idea is like, it's kind of like the player cards of like announcing pro announcements. Obviously, whenever we first started doing those, they've just kind of gotten better every year. And also other brands have started doing similar stuff. Not saying we started it, but everybody's been kind of upgrading.
Right.
And when it comes to that edgy athletic style, not to toot both of our horns, I don't really know what we would have done this year to combat last year's in that field,
100%.
Unless we like rented some like jets and they're flying around, like, like it would have to go so far for it to be like oh my gosh, they really, made it.
Who is that jumping out of that airplane?
Yeah, exactly. So I was trying to think, I was like, well, also, like, what if other people start doing the same stuff?
Right.
And like,
a lot of people have.
Exactly.
And that's
yeah. And so we're like, okay, well, we kind of set this bar for us last year. I was like, let's set just another bar at the same height.
Yeah.
And so, I want to do something a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more fun. And so just really leaned into that Family Matters theme because it's a show I grew up watching. And it's just, I don't know, it's really feel good.
There's like there definitely is a very serious side to what we do, but at the same time, I think it's pretty well communicated in the people that play for us and with us and all that. That like the Titan group is a fun bunch to be around.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, given the fact that like we're somewhat of the party animals whenever we show up to like all the events and whatnot.
Who says that?
You know?
Yeah.
But it's always a good time, and like carrying out that spirit in the video, it was so different from a lot of what everybody else is doing, and it's the same thing when we did our commercial for
Yeah.
like for the
100%.
broadcast. Like everybody had that. An engineer came out with this bag 20 years ago, and it was incredible. You know, and we're like, let's do something funny.
Yeah.
Boom.
Who's funny? Like,
Yep.
Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
just-
I think it really encompasses like kind of what we're about here. I mean, we just like you were saying, we take it serious and we pour a lot into this sport on the serious side, but we also just love having fun.
Yeah.
Like it, no matter what we do, if it's a company event, if we're all out, you know, cuddling in the RV at an event, we always have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's what we really wanted to portray through that release video. And let me say, you did a great job. Both of y'all did.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. What was the most shocking turn of events, at least for you guys, as far as partnerships that happened?
Oh, Adam and Cody splitting up.
Yeah. I
And
couldn't
not
believe it.
only that, because like I feel like that alone, like even if Adam was, choosing to throw with Kelsey or Taylor Swift this year, but instead, like the fact that like it didn't matter who he was throwing with, like that was a shock regardless, because
Right.
they've been together for so long. But I know it was a mutual understanding between the two of them, and it was just kind of it is what it is when it comes to timing and schedule and all that kind of stuff. But then the fact that it was also Birchfield hopping over from Lucky,
Yeah.
and so both of those are just kind of like two big shocks combined into one.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
crazy.
biggest like kind of turn for me.
There's like a couple shocks in there outside, and the fact that they just wound up together is just it blew my mind, honestly. Like we because we kind of figured out about Adam and Cody a little bit before. You know, Adam knew he was looking for somebody, didn't really know who, and I remember whenever we figured out who he was playing with, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like it literally blew my mind. Like, I could not believe it.
Like as weird as it may be, that's going to be a crazy good team.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Like
I think they're both going to be on their game, and they're both going to be going into it with, I think, new energy that they can latch onto.
100%.
Because I think, which it was really, fundamental, important energy for him. But like Adam and Cody have kind of had this same vibe going for a long time, and it
Right.
works really well for them. But I know, like generally, like whenever I'm choosing to work on a new project at work, or whenever like I don't know, whenever you like move to a new house, like you have more of a desire to like fix things in your house as compared to if you've lived there for 10 years.
Yeah.
right.
And I feel like there's this new energy for him of like, let's get to work. Like with this new
Yeah.
partner who he knows can hold his own. It's freaking Trey Birchfield.
Yeah.
And so like, I think and then also Trey, like I love Adam to death. But I think you need to be, a special type of person to just throw with him at all the times and keep up with that energy.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be kind of Trey's new direction too, is like them building this new chemistry. And I
Yeah.
think that's going to be huge.
I think the chemistry is going to be if there was anything that might hinder them, that might be the only thing. But I mean, Trey's awesome guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you just know for a fact they're going to get along and have a good time. So I think it's really going to develop. Because another big thing, I feel like when it comes to bag choice, Adam and Trey both, whenever they kind of first started making their runs, first started getting big, putting their name out there, they were throwing really slow.
Mhm.
And then you notice past couple of years, both of them have transitioned to a little bit faster bag when they're playing on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that has anything to do with like the way that boards just seem to have gotten a lot slower.
Yeah.
Well, that's generally the case with the ACL season, because
Yeah.
every year they get new boards and they keep taking those boards from location to location to location, and they just slow down over the course of the
Yeah.
season. And that's also why, not to kind of derail what we were talking about, but that's like a lot, like for instance, like Tony Smith was talking about the boards being too fast. And a lot of it's because they play on these same boards all year, and then they're like, surprise broadcast lane, we got this board printed yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just lightning.
Yeah.
And so there's this whole kind of, yeah.
But I think that'll, as far as bag choice goes, I think it'll be good because both of them they've got two similar styles, and they both make like the kind of same progression through their styles, almost like side by side,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll just give them more options when choosing bags, and I really think they're gonna lock it in. I think.
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be a team to watch this season for sure.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be some good podium picks with them?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this year. I mean, you look at the teams we've got this year, and it's just like we were so excited for last year, and fair enough, we had some great finishes. Like, I mean, I don't know. Don't fact check me. I didn't fact check myself, but I'd say Team Titan was close to bringing in the most money out of any team just off of people winning with their bags. And this year going into it, I feel like me personally, I'm even more excited for the teammates we've got this year.
Yeah.
And it's just like, not only Trey and Adam, like that's, of course, I feel like that's the one everybody's like super shocked about. But then you look at Bernasette
and Phil Lopez.
Yeah.
That's insane. Jordan Power getting back with Joe Neisted.
Okay,
oh,
hold on.
Man.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Mhm.
Okay, obviously, like the whole cornhole community's bummed out about Ruben.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And of course, like we are.
Yeah,
like,
for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot that's there that's tied up with us and Jay that obviously is pretty sad and tough to say. All right, well, see you later, man. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you know, there was a lot of chatter on certain places on the internet about Jordan playing with him and who carried weight in all that situation. And man, I know what people say, whatnot, but I've watched enough matches with Jordan playing singles to know that that was not.
Oh, yeah,
it was a partnership, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
worked
For sure.
really well.
And I will also say, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you play with Jay, you're probably not going to look that great because Jay's just insane.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jordan matching up with Joe K. Like Joe K, I've seen him. He already came into the league as a really, really good thrower.
Oh, yeah.
And we sponsored him, I believe, his debut year.
Yeah.
Yep,
rookie
rookie
year, yeah.
season, yeah.
Right. And so seeing him come in every single year, even as an already great player, he has improved and improved and improved. And so him jumping on with Jordan, like that really is going to be a team to contest against.
Oh, especially
Like,
since
huge.
they've thrown together a lot in the past. Like
Right.
they already have that chemistry, and they've already had like, even when we had Joe, like there were events where he was like, "Oh, I'm throwing with Jordan because my partner can't get there or whatever." And so it's like they have that, I guess, chemistry already there,
Right.
and it's nice that they can kind of just get back on top of that and to continue to build, as compared to going into the season trying to kind of figure it out. I think they're just ready to eat. Like they're just kind of there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really good matchup.
Mhm.
The energy you're going to get from that team, too.
Oh, gosh.
I'm
Oh,
really
man.
excited. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude.
'Cause I feel like Joe K, like his rookie year with us, he was just, he's a rookie. He's trying to, wean his way into things, but he really opened up this year. All those broadcasts he was on, he was real mouthy. I loved it.
Yep.
I think them two together, it's going to be, I don't think we're going to lose any on the interesting television side of things with that team.
No, I definitely think he went out, got a little bit of a mouth on him, and I feel like grew into a little Titan thrower and came back. It's just like,
Jordan said, Out of everybody that came and filmed for the release video, Joe K was the most excited
oh, dude,
about
he
this
was
whole
so
thing.
into every shot. He was so like that was I think the best energy like in the room. Yeah, by far. No, he made it so easy and so fun.
Oh man, I wished I could like do an impression of him, just like, oh yeah, that's great.
It's like a Scottish
I
accent.
was going to say, that does not sound like him.
I was trying to go for like somewhat like northern Midwestish, like.
You're a little off on that one.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Oh,
But yeah,
man.
they very interesting teams. Like we were saying, Bernasette and Phil Lopez. I think that's gonna be a great
Yeah.
team too.
Yeah.
I've always been a just big like fanboy and friend of Bernasette,
Same.
and I've always really enjoyed watching Phil Lopez.
I know you've always said that you love watching Phil. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember the first time I saw him. I think we may have talked about this before. Saw him at Triple Crown, won the Triple Crown, and I knew from that moment, it's like this guy's gonna go pro and he's gonna do something big. And of course, like once he did,
He won the Triple Crown, right?
yeah, he
Yeah.
won the Triple Crown, and then when he went pro with ACL, like I mean, he made some really big noise up there. And I mean, him and Mark, they went up and played Jay and Jordan that year in the doubles, and I mean, everyone remembers how that turned out. But
Yeah.
I mean, Mark and Phil, they did a heck of a job, you know.
Yeah, I mean, just getting to that stage, getting to that game is, I mean, just that's just an insane accomplishment.
100%.
Yeah.
But man, I'm excited to see, because I think that the team energy that comes from a team like Phil and Steve is going to be completely different from something that happens with Joe K and Jordan.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a lot of talking, and it's going to be a lot of just laser focus, get the job done, and we are going to just run over you.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, one of my favorite things about watching Phil is he's one of those people you can see in between bags or in between frames. You can kind of see this decompression of like, okay, I made the shot I needed to make, and he kind of like reserves back into comfort, and then you can see when he just locks back in.
Oh yeah,
like when he's like, whenever it's time to throw, it's like his expression, like you can see where he's looking. It's just like, oh, he's making the shot, and I feel like Burnsett's very similar, and so I feel like once they're both in this like just animalistic focus, I think that's going to be a hard team to get past, or even like get into their head, or I don't know. It's going to be pretty vicious.
Watch out for the very backside airmails. It's gonna be. There's gonna be some highlights. I can already see them.
Gosh, I just picture, you know, like a team, Joe and Jordan. They're just like running in there, guns blazing, front line, screaming, shooting, whatever. But then you've got like Steve and Phil in the background as the snipers, just waiting. You know,
a lot of our players have guns.
Why not?
I'm not supposed to talk about that part of the sponsorship yet.
Yeah, and I also feel like last year with Steven, you know, he had some partner issues, which all of that, I mean, stuff happens. I mean, it didn't work out the way he would have liked it to. Didn't work out the way we would have liked it to, but it wasn't terrible. And I think now having a consistent partner, especially somebody that he knows pretty well, and they have a similar throw, like everything kind of meshes really well together. And I think that's going to bring more out of Steven. Not only Steven, but I think it'll bring some more out of Phil as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I think pretty sure they don't live too far from each other either.
I think it's like, they're super close. I know they throw together.
Or at least before one of them moved. I can't remember at this point, but they know each other. They've watched each other. They've thrown together, hung out together. I think that's a good start.
Yep.
And then, of course, both of them are just high-level throwers.
Oh, yeah. And then also, speaking of high-level thrower, we also have Nico and Tyler Poitras.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, Tyler is somebody who I'll admit that like really wasn't on my radar until last year. Whenever I kind of like I saw his like video come out and like talking about the previous seasons and all that kind of stuff, and I went back and watched a lot of his stuff, and he's crazy. And I feel like seems to be like a really, really good match for Nico's throw style and play style.
I have to be honest. This is one matchup that I really don't know like what to expect from it, just because I haven't really taken tons of time to really see how either of these players have interacted with each other. So I'm interested to follow these guys and see how it goes.
For like the highlights of Nico and what I've seen of him, I feel like we're going to see a lot of dunking going on. They're both, they're going to be shooting it all day.
Yeah, Tyler. I mean, I don't know if it's just because his name is so fun to say, Poitras, but you hear his name a lot. I mean, even if he's not on the ESPN broadcast every other weekend, I mean, you're hearing his name a lot. It's one of those guys, like you said, I mean, I knew of him, but I never watched a ton of him, so it wasn't really on my radar either. But once there was talk of him, I did the same thing. I kind of went back and watched some more of his stuff and really got to, get to know him through a screen, essentially. And I really do think, like you said, I think it'll be, their styles kind of mesh up really well as well.
No, totally agree.
Yeah.
And then we also brought on 2 first-year rookies this year. We have Devin Wolf, and then we also have Tony Franco. Tony Franco is throwing with Byron Sisson.
Tony.
And then Devin Wolf is throwing with Austin Schlobom, who came back on Team Titan as well.
Yeah, Schlobom and Devin are actually really good friends. So there's definitely going to be some chemistry there. I think that'll help both of them. I think Austin helped Devin get through some of the nerves. I mean, everybody has nerves their first. Rookie season as a professional cornhole player. How crazy is that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's going to be some nerves there. So I think Austin will be able to help him through all of that. I think they'll develop as a good team as time comes on.
I mean, we'll see, because I mean, like, there was clearly no competition for him at the qualifier.
Yeah, he ran through it.
Yeah, because whenever we were there, I was watching Bruce, and I was sitting next to Austin. We were watching Bruce, and Bruce's game ended, and he got him. He's like, "I'm going to go watch my friend Devin." I'm like, okay, I'll see you around, whatever. And then just like maybe a day or two, I was talking to him, and he was talking about, he's like, yeah, he went 8-0. I was like, all right,
So-
made it
Sounds
happen.
good.
Well, let's kind of talk about that for a 2nd.
Mhm.
I wonder if Devin
Mhm.
is going to be one of those people that we were talking about with the revolving door situation, because you've got these players who have had now that the door into professional play is so much more difficult to get into.
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder if having faced so much stout competition to even get to the pro level, what is that going to look like with somebody like him coming in and making some noise inside the pro level?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we see it every year. I mean, the rookie class from last year was just, I mean, unmatched.
When did Tony Smith start throwing?
He's been throwing for a while. I think he started ACL.
I guess his 4th year.
This is either his third
it?
or his 4th year. His first
Yeah.
year he threw with Isabella Sprint. And then who did he throw with after that?
I feel like I'm thinking 4th year, but did he do ACO?
I think it was
before?
third. I think his third year with ACL.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't
This will be his 4th year coming up.
Okay.
I guess one of the main reasons that I was thinking about Tony Smith is that, of course, like a lot of people are chitter chattering about like the MVP team. You've
Mhm.
got Mark and Tony
Yeah.
throwing together, and I mean that's
insane.
That's
Oh,
a
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
stout team.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes a lot of the power of a team, I think, comes down to what is the dynamic of both people together.
Yeah.
Yes, and the off-court like synergy, like how
So, I mean, let's rewind a couple years back to the super team. Brett or Matt Guy and Jamie Graham.
Mhm.
Everybody thought it was just game over when they became teammates,
Mhm.
and it really took them a while to develop as a team.
Yeah.
I mean, going into that season, it's like super team. Nobody's ever winning. You know, they're gonna run through everybody, and they really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were still on the radar, but they weren't just dominating everybody like everybody thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, I guess I just think about teams in the past that I would not have just thought to think, okay, these guys, if they get put together, they're just going to crush it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the dynamic that they have together is super powerful. And I mean, I would even consider Jay and Jordan to be one of those teams,
Yeah, yeah,
because I, in my mind, I wouldn't have put those two guys together
Yeah.
and seen a crazy good matchup, because they're pretty different people
Yeah.
as far as the way that they interact. But so when I see Joe and Jordan put together, in my mind, I'm thinking those guys, I think that they have enough of the same dynamic and direction
Yeah.
and the exact same thought process, but in a totally different department for Phil and Steve.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, Philip Lopez and Steven Bernasette, they can do some serious damage,
Mm-hmm.
but they're question marks that I have in my head just because, like, I don't know Devin very
Yeah.
well at all. I don't really know Tyler very well. Now, I guess weirdly enough, I do know Tony a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have question marks, like how is him and Byron,
Yeah.
how are they going to do stuff this season too?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I do have some question marks in those departments, but at the same time, I think it's excited expectation looking
Mhm.
forward
Yeah.
to it rather than I don't know.
Because I
Yeah.
mean, even returning teams, you'll still have those question marks. You know,
Mhm.
they performed really well last season. Can they do it again?
Yeah.
I mean, you're always going to have those question marks, but they're just a little bit different when you don't know them too well.
Yeah. Because I would say anytime I see either new teams or teams that I'm just, speculating on, whether our teams or other companies' teams, one of the things I generally think about, like, not so much of are they going to dominate, are they going to win or whatever, but because of the way the ACL is set up, a lot of the times I'm like, I wonder if it's going to be a smooth sailing process for them to requalify. Like, do we assume, like, for me, like, our full Titan roster this year all comes across as teams that are just like, they'll be here next year.
Yeah.
They kind of like I'm feeling pretty confident with every team, or it's like I don't feel like either any of them are going to have to be like, well, I made it in singles but not doubles. And so that's a lot of the speculations I give whenever I see teams. I'm like, oh, like that's a really, really good team. I think they'll both make it on singles though. Like I think that'll be their primary way of making it back as pro the next year, as compared to doubles or vice versa.
Yeah. It's also very interesting. Titan will have its first sponsored player in the senior division. Right?
Glenn
Why'd y'all-
Brundle,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
that's embarrassing.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
It's 2 years ago.
Mm.
That's a long time ago.
Well, God bless.
I'm sorry, Glenn. Sorry, Glenn. But be fair, he looks young, so What are y'all laughing at? See, now y'all are the bad guys. Y'all are laughing at him now.
Oh my
I
god.
had to spin that one around. Well, we will be sponsoring our second ever.
Why was he called Bones?
Because he has bones in his body.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's
Yeah.
At least one.
Glenn Bones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out Glenn. I haven't seen him in a while.
It was Gundle, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gundle. I love that
I was
name.
wondering why y'all were just looking at me like I was so dumb. I understand now, but
Mm.
anyways, let's get back to this. To Tony Franco.
Yep.
He's one of those Georgia guys that a lot of us know him really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, mostly on the Georgia scene, so he might not be a familiar face to a lot of people, but he's one of those guys. He's going to put that back in the hole if you try and get in his way. Well, he might help you out and put yours in there too, but his is going in as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to fit really well to the way Byron plays.
Absolutely.
I know Byron got a little bit of a screen time last year on ESPN as a rookie, and that's what you saw. He was playing that slide game, hitting a couple air mails here and there, but they have very similar play styles. I think they're going to be throwing Ravager Fury, right?
Yeah, that's currently their we have, which we'll talk about this later, but we do have a handful of our players all looking into throwing Dwellers. They're kind of in that phase right now where they're all kind of breaking them in, practicing with them, seeing how they feel, and also seeing a lot of them want to throw them for singles, but they're all trying to make sure that as a team that's what they want. So I know they're also looking at those. Yeah, I believe Ravager Furies are their option. And because I think that's what Tony primarily throws anyways. And
Yeah,
same with
he's
Byron,
been-
obviously.
I think Tony's been throwing the Ravagers since they came out, like the OG sets. I know Byron has. Byron has a set of, actually, I think he sold them. He had a set of OG white Ravagers. Y'all remember those? Had his last name on them.
Yep.
But yeah, they're, I think they were between that, like you said, the Dweller, Devastator, of course. I think every team on our roster considers the Devastator just because it's just such a staple, good bag.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I'm still interested in is which bag everybody decides to throw with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, Dweller just came out. We got those in the hands of everybody. And a lot, like you're saying, everybody loves them.
Mm-hmm.
What did Joe K throw his first year? Did he throw Devastators?
Devastators,
Yep.
yeah.
He threw the blackout Devastators pretty much all year.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder what they're gonna throw in doubles.
I mean,
Yeah,
I have a feeling, right there towards the Jordan's insane singles run
With Mana Wars.
with Mana Wars,
Yeah.
he was throwing something a little bit slicker, something he can just go hole for hole, which is, essentially Joe K style as well. Joe has just about every shot in the bag,
Which,
but
let's talk about that just for a second. That was one of the craziest singles
oh
runs.
my goodness, he
Like-
went on a tear.
Yeah.
I was on my way driving up to Worlds, and I've got it propped up over here trying to watch it and listen, and like I think I heard you at one point like yelling from the crowd, and I'm like looking over to see what he did, waiting for the replay. I look up and I'm like, oh, I'm about to hit somebody. I gotta stop doing
I was like,
this.
this is dangerous.
It was bad. I actually wound up pulling over and getting early lunch so I could watch it.
Oh
but
my god.
yeah, what an insane run.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy, and not to mention the fact that there were so many people crowded around watching those games. Like
dude.
I was on the floor, like having to scoot out behind one of the little ACL broadcast curtain things in the background just to even be able to get a glimpse of the return journey of the bags.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever been that nervous in my
yeah.
entire life watching a sporting event. Good grief.
Yeah.
It's so crazy when you're a part of the game as far as my livelihood is involved in what's going on here.
Yeah.
Like how much that affects the way that you observe the sport, if
yeah.
you will.
Oh,
It's so
yeah.
different than, I get tense watching Braves baseball games. I love the Braves and everything, but I don't really have a lot riding on the line. I'm
Yeah,
not making
like-
bets or anything, but it's like, man, it's just crazy watching these guys.
When you get
oh my
so associated with it, it's just, golly, you're right. It's just,
God,
it's different.
bringing it back, and I'm starting to get nervous.
Oh my god.
Gotta take
Just call Jordan.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because it's like, especially whenever I'm watching, like when he gets further and further into the bracket, and it's just obviously the tensions getting higher and higher. Like one of the things, obviously, I'm following them around for every game, and I'm getting, into it. I'm getting, if they lose, I'm getting frustrated or whatever. But there's also sometimes I almost feel like they're allowed to be frustrated, but when they come and give me a high five or a handshake whenever the game's over, I feel like I'm not allowed to be frustrated or disappointed or sad.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to almost contribute in some way of it's fine, it's not over, day's not over, whatever.
Yeah, it's cornhole.
Yeah, job's not done. But I think about that all the time whenever I'm watching. It's I'll get stressed And then I'm just like, God, I don't want them to like look over and see like their team members on the side like stressed and worried for them. You know, I think about it all the time.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I was saying, they bag choices. I feel like teams kind of mesh up a little better. Bag choice is going to be real nice for just about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was one big thing people were commenting after after the reveal. Whenever we were teasing the reveal, it's like, what bag is everybody going to be throwing? And I will say I saw a couple right guesses. I think a lot of people were excited to see who was going to throw the Dweller.
That's what I'm going to call it. In my opinion, last season was the year of the Thrasher.
100%.
I feel like that was the year of the Thrasher, and obviously not just Cody and Adam and Jay and Jordan, but like I feel like that was kind of everybody was trying it at first. It was kind of that was like the peak year for the Thrasher, and I don't know. I really think the Dweller is going to make a big statement this year, at least by 3 of our teams. I think.
Yeah. I mean, if y'all haven't thrown that bag yet, I know it just released, but y'all have got to get that bag in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's on a different level. It's probably my favorite bag we've released.
Mm-hmm.
It I loved the Talon when it came out. Still love the Talon, but now that Dweller's out, they're kind of on the back bench right now because that Dweller is so nice. It's one of those bags like I feel like it's really good for blending with somebody with a roll style game and somebody with a slide style game. It is so perfect to blend those two together.
Oh yeah,
I think that's going to be the biggest tool in regards to that bag. Is being able to throw 2 different styles with it.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the Dweller fit because, I mean, not to make a massive statement, but I would say, like, obviously the Devastator is the bag that I would say checks the most boxes, you know, of like just no matter who you are, you can probably make some stuff happen with the Devastator, whether you prefer sticky, roll bags, whatever. Like the Devastator is just kind of, it's perfect in the middle where it needs to be. But I think if, you know, you don't like Devastators because of X, Y, and Z, I think the Dweller is kind of that Devastator that fills in that X, Y, and Z. It's kind of like if you're on the other side of the coin, but you still want that middle bag, but does the other side of the stuff. That's exactly what it is.
That's really a great way to put it.
Yeah, because like the Devastator's like the slide. Like if there's 2 people, slide guy, roll guy, they want to meet in the middle. Slide guy's going to lean to the Devastator. The roll guy's going to lean towards the Dweller. It's the same essential compromise. It's just one leans slightly one way, one leans slightly the other way.
Yeah. Well, I kind of wish somebody would have like posted some kind of review on the Dweller to help us out. You know. Like, it's not really anything on it out there right now. That's a joke.
Yeah.
If anybody has seen LeVar Elliott's post,
Also, Mike's bags. He also did a full
Mike
YouTube
did a
video.
good review.
Yeah, it's a great review.
Man, that post from LeVar though.
Oh,
that was insane.
LeVar is someone who, it's almost like I tell him thanks and like I appreciate you and all this kind of stuff as much as I can, but I feel like I keep it short because it's either that or you're about to get a massive paragraph for all the things you do for our business.
Yeah.
Like you are just such a genuine, not just fan of the business, but like you're just a part of it at this point. Like he just made a statement. He just started showing up and it was just like, all right, you're welcome in here, man.
I love what he does because I love that kind of stuff to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
And so just seeing him post that kind of thing and take the time to do it, it gets me excited every time that I see him post something.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
If you mention something about LeVar to anybody in the shop, they're like, oh, yeah, I saw it. I mean, it's one of those things we all grow on to just like, he is a part of it. And his stuff is awesome.
Yeah. Statistician, research and development. Like, you know.
Nerd.
It's so awesome. I love the time he puts in. It's so cool. It is so cool to see.
I did have to like take a couple of days vacation just to read that post, but it was great.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the day that he's in one of these release videos.
He needs to be.
He does.
For real. Yeah.
Give him a little part right there in the middle.
Titan family.
Thanks to you, that is still stuck in my head. Probably will be all weekend.
Oh my God.
You killed that though. For anybody who doesn't know, I got to toot your horn 'cause it's so good. Ben did the music and the voice for the release video.
I wish you wouldn't have said that.
Too bad.
Oh well.
I mean, everybody heard you sing the national anthem. They
My
know
music
you got some
career's
lungs
over.
on you.
Oh, is it?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, speaking of teams and bags, a post caught my attention on Addicted that it's something that we've talked about before, and I wanted to briefly mention it, but in a little bit of a different angle. Okay, so what happened at Spencer McKenzie's with the Crew Cup? I thought was one of the most fun things that has happened in the game of cornhole in a really long time. Namely, because the final match came down to Team BG versus Team
yeah,
Titan.
the sponsor v sponsor.
Yes. Oh my
Oh my
goodness. I would
gosh.
love to see it.
I want that so badly. I think that would be one of the most fun things to watch.
I don't know. What. We need to host it. That
let's do
can't.
it.
We're gonna host it.
Bet. Y'all get ready.
We'll figure this
Weekend
out.
before Back and Bash. 2 tournaments in a row.
Like,
you ready for that?
Honestly, though, like, could you imagine? Like, I don't know what the format would have to be for it to feasibly take shape. Because, I mean, if you did a larger team format, there are a lot of bag companies that wouldn't be able to get involved in it.
Yeah.
But, if you did just doubles only, well, I mean, some of the bigger guys, they're going to lose out on being able to have certain doubles teams to play in it. And so I'm not sure how that would logistically operate.
I feel like crew cup and singles.
Right. Like,
Just do those two.
I'd say just do Crew Cup.
Yeah.
Have 2 Crew
I
Cup
think
teams.
Crew
call
Cup
it a day.
only would be awesome.
Yeah.
I
And,
mean, every tournament you could assemble a different little Crew Cup team or do 2 per. They give, some of those companies that only have, if they only have 4 sponsored players, then they can still play.
and maybe even if, like, I don't know, just like have a situation where, like, if there is a team that only has 2 people that are sponsored, you could say, all right, well, for this event, call up 2 people or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, that would be so much fun. And kind of my thoughts were, like, maybe just have like a side shoot fun thing that could happen at Worlds or something. Like, just have all these different manufacturers have their teams, talk about crowd interaction.
Oh, it'd be insane.
Oh my gosh, that would
I'd make sure to plant myself right next to somebody else.
Because it's like, as it stands right now, you've got, or at least the way that I feel the energy is going, you have certain players that people tend to follow around, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then you've got such strong followings with people and their bags.
Yeah.
So, like, you've got the people who are, I swear by Ultra, or I swear by BG, or I swear by Titan, or whatever it may be. I think having those people tuning in to watch, like, oh, hey, my team is playing.
Correct.
Right? As opposed to, John Doe and Jane Doe are playing against each other. Like, I think
it brings an unreal amount of hype. Like, even just looking down there and seeing Team Titan versus Team BG, like, that was so sick.
Oh, that was really fun.
Yes.
I know I was at home, unfortunately, but I was just, oh my goodness, I was so hyped. I don't think I went to sleep till 2:00 that morning.
Like, Jay and Jordan don't hate me on this one, but I had way more fun watching the Crew Cup part of stuff that happened at Spencer's than I did the doubles part.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, I mean, Jay and Jordan were in the Crew Cup, so it's like I don't feel as bad saying it, but it's like, man, like the tension that was so thick just because of, like, the 2 different sides obviously pitted against each other in
it's
this.
just.
Yeah.
Because I think we talked about it on one episode before about wanting to see Crew Cup, more involvement with Crew Cup, and I mean that would be the way to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I would rather. I mean, obviously I see the benefit of having it there, and it's definitely, I'm sure a lot of people have fun. But instead of the pro blind draw, I do Crew Cup instead.
Yeah, I agree.
And like, because I see the necessity for the teams event. I totally understand that. Definitely keep it in. Love the teams event, but then just have like another Crew Cup where you can just whatever, and like have like a mixed teams Crew Cup. So if you wanted to, it didn't have to be sponsored with Crew Cup the same way Spencer's was. And then if it just happens to work that way, then it does.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody likes a good blind draw, but we're playing professional cornhole.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I think you could definitely fill that time a lot better.
I think that, like, at the beginning of the league, that was a really fun and interesting and needed thing. But at this point in it, it's like, maybe not.
There's so many sponsors tied up into it now.
Yeah.
I mean, you go on there, Titan guy draws a BG guy. I mean, what are they going to throw if they make it to the finals? Like, who's getting that credit?
Yeah.
Team stuff too, though.
Yeah.
Which is another. It's another good segue into, well, what if it was just manufacturer based?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each manufacturer picks a team.
The Georgia Titans.
Yeah,
that would sound so good.
Yep.
Yeah, the Titans.
That'd be sick.
The bag gods,
That one's already taken.
the vipers, like what? What?
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah,
Who would Ultra be? Like
the ultras.
The ultras.
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
The all cornholes.
That's pretty convenient for local. The locals.
That's
That's
pretty good.
That's
I
pretty
like
good.
that.
The demons.
Whoa.
They had the local demon.
Yeah, no, I got it.
I feel like being
The hustlers,
a neat mascot.
the hustler X's.
Yeah,
Be
pretty
good.
cool.
The buffaloes.
The buffalo.
Oh, but yeah, I think this is something that I know y'all two have talked about separately. Me and you, Bim, you brought this up to me back probably. Golly, it's probably been 2 years now, maybe a little over 2 years now. This is around when I started playing. We did an event called the Battle of Georgia, and Josh was there. He threw in it. I threw in it, and it was an interesting format. It was like the first time I'd ever seen teams format. And so basically every club brought a team of 10. Of course, West Georgia being extra, we brought 2 teams. And you just played different clubs, and it was, doubles and best of 10 won. And it was a really cool format. And which it didn't go very far. It kind of dwindled out. I believe it was the guy who was running it just dropped cornhole altogether.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't heard his name in forever, but taking that same concept, but doing it by state, like, hey, Georgia's ready to come to Idaho and whoop up on y'all.
Well, like I think that's the idea of where they want to go with the team stuff. That's what Major League Cornhole wanted to do and all this, but yeah,
it's going to take a while to get there.
Good. I think there's just a lot more steps involved to get it really going.
Right.
Yeah.
But that would be just seeing everybody, Team Georgia, just going up, got an event, they're playing Idaho. Yeah. That'd be all the rivalries you'll build there. I mean, at that point you're going more towards like mainstream sports, and I think that's the path we're gonna have to see.
I feel like the weirdest and most interesting thing with the way that cornhole operates, especially considering how just global the world is at this point with the internet. Like I have no weird feelings about people who live here in Atlanta who are Colorado Rockies fans because, they may have some sort of connection there and they can watch all the games and all that stuff. Whereas, like many years ago when everything started, somebody moves in and they're a Buffalo Bills fan. It's like, what are you doing?
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, we are Falcons fans here.
Yep.
Like, except for
unfortunately, but
yeah. But you get the idea. But with cornhole being such a relatively new sport compared to a lot of other things, it's like people started off all over the place, and their loyalty lies with the bags they throw, and that's where that grouping, the tribe feeling comes from in so many ways. It's like you feel most strongly if you have any type of opinion about a particular brand of bag. And so it's like, man, like let's play into that if you're going to do big league stuff. And it feels super unconventional compared to a lot of sports that existed, but that is ultimately, I feel like, the psychology that's going on behind everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can capitalize on that, you're going to get some views.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if I pull up to a blind draw somewhere I've never been, I see some guy up on the board throwing a Devastator, I'm going to that board 100%.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to have some kind of camaraderie with that person. Be like, oh, what do you know about those bags?
Yeah, because like if I see a guy with a Bremen, Georgia, my hometown, I see him with a Bremen, Georgia shirt on, but he's throwing some other brand, and I see another guy 2 rows down throwing Devastators. Yeah, 100% I'm picking that.
Right. Yeah. You're gonna walk up to the dude in the Bremen shirt and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Why are you throwing those?
Yeah, for real.
Get out of here. Take that shirt off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just take it.
Rip it down the seams.
Yeah, but like, that would be really fun.
I think it would be that'd be a new aspect to it. That would just, I mean, if you could get it going, oh my goodness, it'd be so good.
Man, I can just imagine how much excitement that I would have and what could be contributed to that particular type of the way that team functions operated in that format. If you want to see something like that, let us know in the comments, because I would be interested to know if you guys have any contributions or ideas or thoughts about that, because obviously a lot of these thoughts live in my head and within our circles, but I'm always interested to know what the people of the culture of cornhole, think about the way that particular teams events and just the way that energy in general with the culture of cornhole could be advanced. So let us know. Be interested to know your thoughts.
Yeah.
If y'all like the idea, we'll do it the weekend before Bag and Bash. 2 for 1. Can you imagine running 2 massive tournaments like Bag and Bash back-to-back weeks?
I would die.
Yeah, I don't think it would be fun.
I would pass away. Yeah.
At that point, I'd probably just go on vacation.
Yeah. Well, what are you guys' thoughts about just the overall vibe of the players and like the people that we've recruited for this season? What kind of hopes and projections you got? What do you think?
This will kind of make me sound like a fanboy. I haven't talked to Joe very much. Like his rookie season, hardly talked to him. I talked to him a little bit whenever he was here for the filming of this year. But I was so hyped when we got Joe K back. I just watching him last year and how he grew as a player. It was really cool to see. And the second it was like Jordan's like, yeah, I'm thinking about Joe. I was like, please.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. You know, I talked to him briefly. I was working, but I was able to sneak away for a few minutes, talk to him about the Dwellers new bag came out, and him and Jordan, of course, me and Jordan were talking a little bit, and it just seems like a good vibe already. Super excited for them.
Yeah, and that'll be super fun. I think just because I'm extremely biased, I think I'm gonna have a big eye on Phil and Steve.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's going to be the main one. Obviously, we have other huge teams, but Bernadette and Phil are definitely the team that I'm excited the most to really see what happens and really see the direction they go.
Yeah.
So I mean, with Bernadette and Phil, it kind of seems like I wouldn't say they were overshadowed, but they've kind of, you know, they've been right there on the brink of really breaking out and becoming that spotlight player. And I think both of them have the potential to break through that this year and be 2 of the best, like top 10, top 5 players together. And I think it could really blow up.
I think that there's a lot for Steven Bernasette in particular that hinges on the way that the team dynamic jives.
Oh, yeah.
That determines how well he as an individual performs.
Yeah.
And I've seen that in a lot of different places and locations and scenarios and whatnot.
That's everybody, though, if you think about it.
To a degree.
Yeah,
to a degree. And I think that just this dynamic alone is going to have a big shift for what happens in this season for him. And I think it's going to be really healthy and positive for his game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that the same thing, because the right matchup is happening for Bernasette, having him as a teammate with Phil is going to be good for Phil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
I think they're both going to be able to play off each other as new partners and really, really shine.
Yeah.
And then you can't even, like, the fact that we're not primarily talking about Trey Birchfield and Adam Hissner partnering up just shows, like, the insane teams we have this year. Because that's a bombshell.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
I think I saw one person guess it. I don't think they really thought
early
it was
on
true.
too. The first time I saw it, it was like
Yeah.
pretty early. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know if they actually thought it was true or they were just throwing something up there, but golly, that is a bombshell.
Yeah, that is crazy to think about. Like the 2 seemingly like inseparable different categories, like Trey over it with Lucky, and then you've got just Adam and Cody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
gosh, I mean, they've been like feels like married for so long. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
15 years they've known each other.
the couple of cornhole.
yeah,
Like,
and I mean those are
man.
2 of the players that go back the farthest with the ACL.
Yeah.
And you know you've always
yeah.
seen them playing, but you've never seen them playing together. So it's kind of crazy. So I think Trey's
This is his 6th year.
I think he's the 3rd or 4th winningest most player in the ACL. And then Adam, I know Adam's up there as well.
Yeah.
And just the fact that, you know, Trey's kind of bounced around partners. He's been pretty consistent the past couple of years, but nobody really expected that big of a move.
Yeah.
And it's just, I know I didn't. I mean, blew my mind whenever I even first heard, you know, rumors of it.
I've got a lot of high hopes for them. And of course, I mean, like as a manufacturer, you're paying people to come on and play and represent you. You have high hopes for everybody.
Of course.
And so it's like I have high expectations for every single person that has come on to the team. I just have a certain, I guess, level of excitement and interest.
Yeah.
In several of them in different ways.
Yeah, it's kind of like you always have that work mindset whenever I watch like our players play. Like even like, you know, like my first year kind of getting into the job I am now, like a few of the people like I didn't really know that well, but still seeing them, I'm like, oh, I hope they do well because of our business and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like this year and just being around it a lot more, I can tell there's that view, but then there's also like I'm friends with these guys, and like, you know, I'm really excited. I've seen a lot of these people, even when they were on other teams, like throwing, and I like them, and so it's like I'm kind of have both sides of excitement, I guess.
Yeah, because I feel like going back on what you were saying, I feel like some people, I don't want to put it this way, but I mean it's how it is. Seeing if they're going to live up to the hype. I mean there's a lot that rides on that. I can't imagine like Jay and Jordan. I can't imagine like, man, we just killed it this season. We got to do it again, and then they just do it again. Even bigger this time, I would say. But you get a lot of that, okay, they've done good before, let's hope they perform again. I feel like that's a big part of it. And then on the flip side with like, you know, like Byron and Tony, you know, this is Byron's second year. This is Franco's first year as a pro. And there's like just that mystery of like, you know, last year Byron, he really, really started to slide into his like, no pun intended, slide into his like game. I'd say about a quarter of the way through the season, and we saw his game from like what we're used to seeing around here, which is already insanely good. And he just started to build on that, and he's gotten to a point where I feel like he's developed more in a year than he has his entire time playing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think last year him and Jason Frady, like it was both their rookie years, and so I feel like, which they both, you know, showed up and showed out, like they definitely did their thing. But I think Byron, even though it's only his second year, but being in that, between him and his partner being in that veteran position and kind of being maybe not the guide through the ACO, because obviously Franco's done ACO stuff and he's traveled a lot. He's already kind of done the cornhole thing. But I think that's going to play a big role in the direction that Byron kind of steers himself. And I think it's going to be a big year for Byron.
I do too. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like just because being excited about pairings whenever I saw he was playing with somebody, you know, like he knows them real well. They've played together before. I was just super excited for both of them. So like you were saying, I think Byron will be able to slide into a little bit different role this year. And I think it'll elevate both of their games. Maybe he'll get Tony through some of the first year ACL Pro jitters, if there is even any, because he just throws it in the hole so good.
Well, all y'all pros, I'm watching y'all.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We're watching the guys at the blind draws on Thursday nights too, everywhere. Get ready.
Well, that was fun.
It was fun.
That was good. We're excited about all the new guys that have come on. We're excited about the Dweller bags. And just like what we mentioned in the last episode, we've got new stuff coming out apart from that. There's just a lot happening right now.
Feels good to be back at this table.
Yeah, it does. It feels really good.
It does. Yeah, I've missed doing this a lot. Yeah,
it seems like about the time we got it up going pretty consistent, everything went crazy.
Just cornhole and work busy.
Yeah. But super excited. Got first open next weekend.
Yep.
We excited?
We got some regionals this weekend.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try and ride up to Rock Hill.
Oh yeah.
I think we're gonna try and ride up Saturday morning. Depends if the deer are moving or not, but
I've been meaning to ask, see if Bruce wants to go. I don't know.
I think we're gonna probably ride up. Well, at least I might. My girlfriend might disown me, but I'm probably gonna go.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just way too excited to see all these teams play. So.
All right. Well, rock on. We appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. You know, be sure to, you know, follow us on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube, like the video, and comment. Like, I really do want to know you guys' thoughts about the whole teams thing, what you guys think about that. But, yeah, so we'll see you next time.